And the leaders of dozens of Muslim nations have gathered in Istanbul to discuss the conflict. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is also in Turkey and has warned any US intervention would be dangerous for all parties. He's also been meeting with his counterparts from Britain, France and Germany in Geneva. At the OIC meeting, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan urged Muslim countries to unite around Iran's right to defend itself and slammed Israel for starting this war.
With its attacks on June 13th, the Netanyahu government has actually aimed to sabotage the negotiation process. What has been experienced also shows that Netanyahu and his network of murder does not want any issue to be resolved through diplomacy.
And let's take you over to the Turkish-Iranian border, where our correspondent Julia Hand is standing by for us to give us an update. First of all, what do you make of President Erdogan's words?
Well, very harsh words there from the Turkish president, but hardly surprising if you consider what a fierce critic he has become of the Israeli government. But of course, the Israel-Iran war, now in its second week, is featuring high on the agenda of this summit of OIC foreign ministers here in Turkey this weekend. And Turkish President Erdogan spent nearly half an hour berating Israel. He called the Israeli strikes on Iran once again, and this is a quote, state terrorism, and accused Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu of trying to drag the entire region into chaos. Of course, he had an audience here that probably doesn't disagree with him much. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation is an association of 57 members, mostly majority Muslim countries, an association that aims to protect Muslim interests and represent the Muslim world. And that's why he called on these members' solidarity, to show solidarity in the face of what Erdogan calls is Israeli aggression. More interestingly, maybe because it's more constructive in this violent situation, is that he also said there is a clear need for diplomacy and talks, and he said Turkey was ready to do what it can to facilitate any sort of negotiations that could end the violence.
Julia, is Turkey in a position to do that? Can it play that neutral role as an effective mediator?
No, Turkey is clearly not a neutral actor here, and I doubt that President Erdogan would have much of an influence on the Israeli government, considering how strained and broken ties are. There's certainly other actors, and you've mentioned the US already, a possible decision by US President Trump to maybe get involved in this, and these are the actors calling the shots right now. But of course, Turkey is an actor here in the region, and as such, it's a country that could possibly face any sort of spillover from further escalation across the border. More Iranians, for example, seeking refuge here in Turkey. They might have a certain degree of influence on the Iranian side, but the Iranian foreign minister, who is here in Turkey as well after his talks with European counterparts, did not lead to any sort of diplomatic breakthrough. He has made it clear that the Iranian position is, okay, we are in principle ready to talk about the Iranian nuclear program as well, but only if the Israeli attacks stop first. And right now, from where we are standing here at the border, there's no sign of these mutual strikes ending anytime soon.
And just briefly on that, what sort of influx is there of refugees?
Well, we keep seeing people arriving here from Iran. Mostly it's dual nationals who is stranded in Iran because the air traffic is now closed. So they arrive here at the border very exhausted, emotionally exhausted too, and very broken and shattered. People who are now trying to go from Turkey to the UK, other European countries, to the US. I met one Iranian-American man who had to travel for more than 36 hours to get from the Iranian city of Mashhad here to the Turkish border, and when he told me that he saw explosions on the way, he just broke down in tears. So a very tense emotional situation. At the same time, let me briefly add that there are many Iranians who are making their way back home to Iran right now because they say we have to be with our country and with our families, of course.
Very tricky situation. Julia Hand on the Turkish-Iranian border. Thank you very much for your reporting.